Okay, and so hey YouTube, this is Darkbyte here, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to code some basic Java, and over the course of this series, you guys are going to learn from hello world all the way down to reading and writing to files, and using like NetSockets and stuff, and all that good stuff that you guys actually want to use. I'm also going to be making a plugin making series during the course after about halfway through this, so that you guys who've got a decent knowledge of Java by then will be able to do some stuff with that and practice basically. Well, you guys might be wondering, alright, so where do we start? What is this Eclipse program and how do we get it and how are we going to compile everything? Don't you need a special compiler? Well, the answers to both of those are to get the Eclipse IDE for Java developers. Just go on to eclipse.org, which is the link is going to be in the description. Hopefully, if I can remember to put it there. If not, just go to eclipse.org, and if you want to get the JDK, which is the Java Development Kit, which you're going to need, then go to what's it called again? Oracle.com. Yes, Oracle.com, and go to the download section and just download the JDK. We're going to be reusing Java 7, so if you guys don't know how to do that, then once you got Eclipse open, then the first thing you're going to need to do is, wait, actually I'm going to delete this because you guys haven't made this yet. So you know what, the first thing you need to do is you go past all these welcome screens and it should come out with a window that looks kind of like this, except you won't have most of these because these are my own projects. So what you need to do is you need to right click on this package explorer thing wherever it might be for you, and you need to go on to new. So you right click it, new, and there should be a thing called Java project. Now it'll come up with all this stuff, use default location. Now the one thing that you're going to change is this Java SE. So it should come out with 1.8 as default since 1.8's out, but we're only going to be running in 1.7, although if you want we can use 1.8, but the default compiler compliance level is 1.7, so we're going to be using 1.7. It's slightly easier to use as well. I know there is a few features like Lambda and stuff, but we're not going to be getting into that as of yet. So for now, we're just going to be using Java 7 because it's easier to use in general. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run this, and how we're going to do this is we're going to create the project by naming it first. So what should we name it? Let's just name it tutorials, since this is a tutorial series, and that's appropriate. So you know, let's go on, and we got all this stuff, so we'll have this JRE system library with a load of these files in there, and you don't need to know what these are. These are just the base kind of Java library stuff. We're going to be using all the files out of these, but for now they're unimportant. So you know what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to right click this source thing, and we're going to create new, and we're going to create a package. Now a package is basically just, they're usually named like backwards URLs, so like com.example. something, like com.example or something, but they're basically just inside your Java file you'll have a folder and a load of subfolders. So each of these dots represents a new subfolder, so you'll have a subfolder of me and then Darkbyte. So yeah, it's basically just used to organize your code, so you can have like, I don't know, com.example.core, and then you could have like, say you're making a game, you could have all the stuff about render engine inside the .render, and then you could have all that other good stuff. So it's basically just having a load of subfolders where you can keep everything so that you can organize it into different sections. It just makes everything a lot easier to work with. It's only useful if you're making a large project. So what we're going to do is we're just going to create one main one for now, and we're just going to call it com.darkbyte.tutorials or whatever you guys want to call it. So I'm going to call it com.darkbyte.tutorials. So here we go. Alright, so I'm just going to go and call this, and I'm going to make a new class now. So you guys might be wondering again, what's a class? So a class is basically just where you put all your code in Java. You can have multiple classes. Classes are also used as objects, which I'll explain in later tutorials, but for now all you need to know is a class is basically just where you're going to put your code. So we're going to create a class and we're just going to call it main, but you guys can call it whatever you want. Again, it doesn't really make a difference. So I'll come out with a screen like this. I'm just going to format it into the thing that I like, since it is going to be like that. So if you guys already have it like that, just press tab and you can get it to do that. Or if you press, yeah, you have to press tab or you could just go back and press enter again, but it's just easier to press tab. I like to get rid of the bottom thing since it's not necessary, and you'll have this. So you'll have public class main. That's just a class declaration, basically telling you that the class this is the class body. So all of your stuff, all of your code will go inside the class body. You can also declare stuff like enums, but we're not going to be using those for now. So yeah, there's also this package declaration, which is basically just telling Java which package this file is located in. So as you can see, com.darkbyte.tutorials, and if we type something wrong, then the IDE is going to give us an error, and it's going to tell us that either we can change the package and we can move it to a new package, or we can just change it back to how it's supposed to be. So you know what, let's start up with the first piece of code you're probably ever going to run into in Java besides these bits, and that is public static void main string array of args. Now this sounds like a load of baloney to you at the moment because you guys don't know what this means, but basically public means that it can be accessed everywhere. Static you don't need to know yet, that's just something that you need to add in this because it's something that's necessary. Void is basically just a function that doesn't return a value, so this is just going to be running the code and it's not going to return a value back. Main, that's the name of the main method, and you've got to have these parameters. The string array of args is what needs to be sent to the compiler, which you guys don't need to know about all that stuff as of yet, because you're never going to use that most likely if you're just going to be going into like some mid-level programs. You're not going to be working with bytecodes or compilers or anything as of yet, but one day you might. So if you do, then just go on to a tutorial about this. They're hard to find, but most of the ones that are out there are very informative. It's also very difficult, so we don't need to learn about that stuff for now. So let's get into the basic Java programming. Instead of learning about bytecode compiler bullcrap, we just need to learn about Hello World for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the system library. So we're going to access the system class. So if you want to access a class, so if we wanted to access anything from the main class inside a different class, we could just call main dot and then, but we're going to be accessing stuff from the system class. So we're going to access system dot, and then it'll come up with this little menu with loads of this stuff, but all we really need to get is just system dot out, since we're working with the output stream for the system. So the output stream for the system is basically just a console, so we're going to be working with the console because we're going to be printing to the console, and then we're going to go dot, and it'll come out with a load of stuff like flush, print line, close, but what we're going to work with is we're going to work with print ln. So what does println do? Println basically just prints to the console and makes a line space. Now if we just did print, it would just print out and then it would not make any spaces. So here's an example. Say we write hello world. It won't make another line space after this if we make another system.out.print. So we write system.out.print print, and then we go how are you, just because you know we're polite. So we went how are you, and then we ran that. There's no spaces in between, so you know it just does it on the same line. But if we were ln here, then it would make a line there. So here we go, it would end the line. And how does it do this? All it does is it simply, you can do it with print. It's just easier to do it with println because you don't have to add the \n. It will work exactly the same. See, exactly the same. It's just so much easier to ignore this \n and just write println. It just saves so much time. Alright, so we can do this as many times as we want, and it'll keep printing out to the console. So say we wanted to print out something else, so my dog's name is Buster the cat, because this guy's a weirdo like me, so you know. Alright, so we run this, and in the console it's going to print out hello world, how are you, my dog's name is Buster the cat. And say we want to print out something else. So we don't want to have to print out something. We want to print it all out, but we don't want to have to make another print statement or something. We can just put a quick plus. This is called a concatenation operator, and it basically lets you add on to what you're doing already. We'll go into further detail about this for later, but for now, all you need to know is when you're printing, it basically just adds on to it. So say we go now, we can put a comma and then just go he's very salty because obviously this guy likes to eat his cat, so his dog cat, or wait, is it a dog? Yes, it's a dog, but it's also a cat. So yeah, my dog's name is Buster the cat. He's very salty. You know, obviously you wouldn't use it like this since this is the most pointless way to use it ever. But say you wanted to just write randomly, you wanted to get the system property or something. So system.getProperty, and then you write like OS name. So you wanted to get what OS you're using for some reason, because it just struck your mind. So my name is Buster the Cat Windows 7. Yeah. So obviously that's a pretty pointless use for it, because obviously, you know, this is probably even like slightly less pointless because, you know, you can't just write down the property if you don't know it, because this would, if we were on a Mac, it would change to, you know, Mac OS X 10 point whatever or something. So, you know, yeah. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys next tutorial.